Well then, welcome back. Hello, Moonwing. Yes, but speaking of winter's chill, dear everything, it is as hot as the Maliary in here. So, yes, let us hope that some of that winter's chill from our dedication to remembrance will rub off into the physical world, though, well, if that actually works is yet to be determined. Though I can probably prophesize that there won't be any silence, at least, despite our dedication. Yes, the sun may be divided, but the light is just as merciless as it ever was. Now let's see, where were we? Bleak thoughts, but nothing empowering it yet. An expedition? No, not an expedition. A disinterment. Stealthy excavations by the soft light of a hooded lantern. Carried out by one of our maids in the mirror. The ascent is glass, the walls are knives, each step is blood. The dead who rest before a new cracked mirror, who pass through the peacock gate, who master the sharp stare. Those dead enter the service of the sun in rags. Which is interesting because I would have thought maids in the mirror were in service of the menace gate. Well, in that case, I would probably have to eat you, so, what is Eldridge doing here? Alright, the clouds part. The wolf despair prowls elsewhere. No dread empowers this despair. It's over, for now. And, on that occasion, we also get some contentment, not that we particularly need it. And yes, we have feasted. There's sometimes something left over which must be buried again, but one can be efficient. And, because our appetite is still not sated, we will continue on our feast. The feast of the honeyed dove, that is. I can consume remnants to preserve a little of their knowledge from dust. I may yet have to. And so, if we... there it is. Can find that corpse. Once again my appetite rises, flecked once again with shivers of revulsion. Yes, we are hungry, hungry indeed. Now that I have tasted the graveyard fruit, the hunger comes often to trouble me. My mouth waters at the fragrances of decay, and my belly growls like a dog. Reduce this by feeding on remnants. Do not ever permit it to reach 7. The game may end, and not pleasantly. Well, I suppose that's true, though at the same time, the body does still contain memories. Stealthy excavations by the soft light of a hooded lantern. We need... let's see here. We have 5. This will reduce it to 4. This will then reduce it to 3, so after this one, 3 more disinterments. Yes, and I suppose once one has shed the mortal coil, concerns of what happens to one's memories become secondary. Now. Who is saying that? Those memories could be quite profitable. Laurels of Renown. Right, Spencer Hobson is our adversary here. Something joyful. Another morsel to feast upon. And another disinterment. The Peacock Door, an unresolved ambiguity. Last night I opened the Peacock Door, and beyond it in the bright spaces of the house I met a pilgrim adept. I am almost ready, they said, to pass to the summit of the house, to prepare for the final ascent. Perhaps you'll join me. I will need allies to fight for my place. Here is a story to help you rise. An unresolved ambiguity. In the Mansus, the hours strive one against another. As the struggles are resolved, they iron out the impossible, exalt the possible, tie the fraying braids of what has been into one golden ribbon of future. Everything is resolved. History becomes the past. There are, however, exceptions. Exploring with this scrap of knowledge may uncover secret locations in the Rending Mountains, 3,000 miles away among the wreck of the oldest empires. Well, I mean, have you seen our graveyard mouth aspect? We are very hungry. Right. Right back into the Peacock Door. Now that we have the 𝐭𝐴𝐞𝐳𝐝. Also, where was that memory? There it is. Oh. I overlooked this piece of dread. Hopefully, yes, it shouldn't be a problem. In the meantime, let us get another commission. And another feast. Ah, something profitable. Very good. So we should sort this. The bounties of our latest expedition. Wolf snow. Far too cold ever to melt in anything but the hottest noonday sun. It will very gradually consume human flesh. Is this... No, it's not pigment, but it's still quite useful for a winter cult such as ours. A second glory. A work by 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞? The priest and hermit scholar. 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐿, who knows? Deep Mandaic. The 𝐪𝐿shorn inscriptions, which we won't really need. Hundreds of matching lines in Greek and Phrygian poetry, copied from a wall, similar or identical to the inscriptions 𝐭𝐻𝐿shorn discovered in Halicarnassus. If we speak Greek, we can use this as a key to Phrygian, though we already speak that as well. As the sun his course. In Aramaic, these we should probably sell once we get the opportunity. Also, I think I'm considering moving all of this up a little bit, but it's probably not worth it ultimately. Too much work to sort all of these tiles now. But we can at least do a little bit of this. Can this fit down here? Kind of. No, let's keep it here. You know, this was probably not worth it, but, well, it was worth a try. Yes, a big table and, more importantly, a lot of cards. Also, we are running quite low on funds, so next things we should probably sell some of these spintriers, the silver ones specifically. Not that we'll be using them for much now. Yes, this was an attempt by me to replicate the assortment I'm using on a separate playthrough, which I'm playing in private right now, where I placed this slightly higher so that I could still fit the Forbidden Epic here. But, yeah, moving all of this, most likely not worth it. Do we need to worry about that dread? Not particularly. Share an 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞 memory with Miss Nenya. Miss Nenya's expression is difficult to read today. I have become conscious of her eyes, her mouth, the lines of her face as separate objects, conjunct only by chance, like the contents of someone's pockets emptied onto a table. Speaking of tables. And how much more? One more. Let's try that again. There we go. Where's the cemetery? There it is. Wonderful. That should be that for now. Until the hunger comes to trouble us again, that is, of course. But we've bought ourselves some time. Let's get rid of that dread before it becomes a problem. Now, speaking of which, it seems... Oh no, actually. Also have some tentative evidence now. Miss Nenya says nothing, but there in the gallery I snatch my pen from my pocket, and I write, frenziedly, as if I had been given directions by someone whispering in my ear. When I follow the directions, I will find something precious. Grey Dawn oil. This, however, is a pigment. Very useful. There we go. Alright. Something menacing. And since our hunger is rising again, we'll need one more of these. And also, let's get Sylvia here to take care of this evidence for us. Yes, I think it's rather ironic, the dead, uncovering more dead. Right, we should also use this menacing to get some more funds, but speaking of, how did our funds get over here? Excellent question. Alright, but this should be enough for now. So now, let us take care of our financial situation, selling off some of these spintriers. Yes, well, I assume it's not always the same cemetery, but if it is, that would be very funny. sell something of significant value. That should give us at least 8 spintree, just like so. Contentment, which we might well need very soon, because I think something menacing, if worked on, gives us dread. The evidence is gone. Wonderful. And let's also study some of these texts. Our receptacle for Sanskrit texts is getting quite crowded, so... Oop, that's odd. So let's read this. Also known as the one who has shaven his hair, this, the story goes, is the lord that even the shape-changing Vanaras rejected. Yeah, or on the radar of the Suppression Bureau. We do seem to be vaguely aware of what we're doing, but not aware enough. My client is aghast, but also agog. Some people will pay for this. Some people will pay for anything. Yes, as suspected, we get some dread for our efforts. Maybe we should speak to Miss Nenya about the second one, but... I think we can risk a little bit of dread. Frost, not quite what we need, but... we can work with it. I'm also thinking if we maybe shouldn't start readjusting Spencer Hobson's... oh wait. Ah, right, he was both an idealist and grim because of our previous unsuccessful attempts at swaying him, so... that means... readjusting his career trajectory is out of the question, so... the only other option is the, shall we say, baser method of getting him to leave us alone. The Tantra speaks glowingly of those who are prepared to abandon their old self, to seek a new and higher self. It warns that once the change has truly begun, past the third mark, a return to the old self is dangerous and painful. Good to know. For others, though, I suspect our path is quite different from that. No marks, but instead aspects upon our canvas. Ooh, 12 funds. Very nice. I think we'll keep about 5 silver spintree for now, and then begin selling some of these iron ones. What should we preserve? This job. Now, what to speak of? What to speak of? Ah, yes, I mean, we could get rid of one of these dreads by gaining a new recruit. Whisper your secrets into the earth, burn them in fire, scatter them in the sea. Still they will cling to your hair, the Tantra cautions. It provides an occult riddle that it claims is sometimes the answer to the riddle of the Hunter's Gate. Yes, indeed. The 𝐒𝐬𝐥𝐞𝐧𝐜𝐞, parable, what may be lost. But we've already gotten past 𝐿𝐵. Is there a season of dread coming up? There is. Alright. With sufficient knowledge in Edge, we can subvert this. But it will give us dread nonetheless. Oh well. Maybe painting will net us some more contentment to deal with that. It will not, at least not this time. No, not study, work. With mystique, passion. There we go. Now, what other texts are there? We could also translate this, because I think it's quite valuable once translated. An enigmatic sculpture, an elaborate ivory sculpture of impossible intricacy. Around and across its surfaces, Sanskrit inscriptions spiral against matching lines of 𝐸𝐸. If you speak Sanskrit, you can use this to learn 𝐸𝐸, the first language of the world. Right now it's only valued at 1 aspect, but I think once translated, that number will increase quite a bit. Alright, despair. But with a little luck, this will give us contentment. And let's also use this icy atmosphere to get another poem. Alright, we could try our luck again at the Worm Museum, but that gives us a chance of more dread, so instead I will venture to the Red Church tonight. And we are rewarded. The peacock door unsealed. I saw the Red Church again last night, with its pews of bone, the stained glass in shades of ruby, the golden altar that beats like a heart. That night the names of the Grails gathered to speak of those long who've sworn off the pleasures of the bedchamber, save between man and man, or woman and woman. They still paid the tribute of delight, an ivory said. They do not bear fruit, a lovely said. If forge and sun had only joined, a thirstly lamented. Then they fell to gossiping of the Long and the house of Leith, and their deeds in the desert. I remember it still. A vagabond's map. Also, happy Pride Month. Woo! The vagabond is the 1 hour who can never enter the manses, but she goes everywhere else. And, if you believe her boasts, she's the only one who knows all the histories. Sometimes she lets someone record her travels. Exploring with this scrap of knowledge may uncover secret locations in the lone and level sands. Far from here. Ha ha ha. Yep. I suspected as much. I am in your head, always one step ahead. Also, let's, speaking of the lone and level sands, we have this location here, Messana. Why not embark upon it? Right back into that peacock dwarf? Messana, what is the text for this one? Messana, where the villagers routinely remain hale and vigorous past their 100th year, they will resist attempts to pry into their secrets, and they may have curses at their disposal, if we can penetrate the desert to reach them. Messana, a quietly prosperous village, rests in the crook of the river, a surprising splash of green against the dusty land behind. The longevity of the villagers surpasses the natural. What are they hiding? They could be long or something similar. Though I think because this is in the desert, we're going to recruit some help on that expedition. Let's see, what would be the correct invocation? This one, perhaps? No. I think this one. An offering of... No, wait. I do think, actually, we can use this one, yes. This one doesn't belong here. An offering of forge, an instrument of knock, and a grand degree of grail. 𝐒𝐤𝐥𝐸 may only enter where the grail's power is strong, and it will choose to enter only when invoked with the forge, with which it has flirted so often. No, 𝐒𝐤𝐥𝐸, because the desert will probably require grail to quench our thirst, if I remember correctly. Alright, that takes care of that. The 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐸, there we go. An elaborate ivory right, we've already discussed that, and now that it is translated, it is worth quite a bit more. Well, I imagine flirting with an hour is a very dangerous prospect, even if you are one of the most powerful names in the Mansus. The Iron Book, a manual of the Ordo Limiae, an order of quasi-immortals who maintained a secret enclave at the source of the river Limia in the Roman province of Hispania Galicia. This manual was compiled by one 𝐿𝐿𝐼 𝐼𝐿𝐼, who claims to have traveled to join the Ordo from the Crossroads of the Waters. Crossroads of the Waters. That's probably a reference to a real real geographical feature. Probably some kind of strait. Could be the Gibraltar Strait, or I mean, there are several possibilities. Right, what could we also speak of? There's not that much. But at the same time, keeping the talk verb unoccupied brings its own advantages. So now, yes, let's embark on this expedition. Alright, now that we're no longer burdened by despair, it's safer again to venture into the Worm Museum. The right call, it seems. Size in the Mansus is negotiable, and so last night in the Worm Museum I saw one of the worms who took Vienna, caged next to a worm taken from the soul of a child. In dreams they are more visible than waking, smooth and dark as jewels. The walls bear stories of the First and Second Worm Wars. The third is too recent to have passed into the histories. Right, we only have one appetite yet. That should be fine. I mean, we could use talk to get rid of this icy atmosphere. To get another pawn. Not really useful for anything specific, but... Right, since there is probably a curse here, let's add at least one heart follower. Because most curses are defendable against with the heart. So now, since we are depleting our reserve of Spindria, let us work on more commissions. Yes, yes, 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞𝐧𝐜𝐞 thirstily. Change me, change me, change me harder. Now, my turn. 12 Grail, 12 Edge. A Phylaxian, which we could use to protect against disease. Also a Thresher of Thoughts, which I think we can use to... What was it? Right, convert reason into passion, but we don't really have a need for that right now. The Iron Book. The final part of the manual describes the punishments for Ordo members who break their oath of secrecy. This includes an invocation used to summon the spirit called King Crucible as an agent of vengeance. 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞 cautions that this must be a last resort when the Oathbreaker would otherwise go unpunished. Though, curiously, the lore we get out of this isn't strong enough to actually summon King Crucible. Oh well. Not really something we're too concerned with, since our lore is looking quite bountiful. Second Glory. I think this has a chance of giving us Pinnacle Winter lore. A work by GHOUL, the priest and hermit scholar. I'm not that familiar with Magic the Gathering, I must confess, so that reference is, I think, unfortunately, flying over my head. Creeping Breath Curse. Oh. I guess, Leo here was a bit unnecessary, since we have Grail in ample supply. Which will also protect us against the curse. It will also get us through the desolation, an immense and tawny furnace barely contained by its horizons. At night, a chilly wilderness of stars, we must go carefully, with Forge to shape our way, or Grail to secure us against thirst. And Watchers, mortals, perhaps even ordinary mortals, but quite a number of them. They can be fought, seduced, or deceived. 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞 can do 2 of those. He can also get us through the desert and protect us against the Creeping Breath Curse. So really, he would have been all we really need for this expedition, but never hurts to be... Phyrexian, interesting. Phyrexian, I'm trying to remember what the word root of that term was, but it eludes me for the moment. Do we have any dread coming up? We don't, at least not yet. Good. An unresolved ambiguity. Oh wait, that goes here. Yes, I frankly don't really care what 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞 does with those Watchers, but while I don't, but I certainly also probably don't want to know. either. Or at least not too closely. Alright, this should increase our supply of spintrier. The priest 𝐿𝐥𝐴 celebrates the expiration of the gods who were stone, those hours who precede humanity. Oh, this is very interesting for us, since I don't think we're still missing any gods from stone, but this text will probably, if we do, this text might tell us that. 𝐿𝐥𝐴 engages in an apologia for the destruction of the hours. They were old, they were cowardly, they were vile, their time had passed, and it was the shining destiny of humankind to seize the house through glorious battle. Well, justified or not, our task will be to remember them. We call upon the Sistren Witch, who are Pearl. I wonder if that's supposed to say something more. Probably, but it's getting cut off. The Sistren Witch should see us safe through the dry places. The sun in splendor, the sun is setting. We look back across the desolation we crossed, and at all the colors it assumes in the evening light. Night falls, stars prickle, the wind presses cold hands to our faces. Onwards. 1 challenge down, 2 to go. Yes, I suppose, you could call it that. Last night I visited the Worm Museum, which is both within the manses, for security, and without, for safety. The hours have charged the Colonel with its defense, and even the linesmith does not challenge him here. Winter is the chiefest aspect of this place. The worms thrive where things end, but they can also be ended, and they must if the manses is to endure. This morning, the chilly certainty of the Colonel's hand still lies on my shoulder. One interesting detail I've noticed is that whenever you get 15th order influences from your Mance's dreams, it mentions being physically touched by one of the hours. So, you know, for this one, it's being touched by the Colonel with his hand upon our shoulder. And I think one of the other ones also mentions this in the Maliary, I think. The world is still as ice. Each movement is a journey. A 15th order influence. This might be the personal attention of an hour, which also corroborates this claim. This can be used in some rites to summon minions. If unused, it will become dread. Though that will take quite a while. Luckily. Yeah. Their mere touch has quite the power to it. I always get confused with the commissions, in what order to click them. The expedition continues, right? A second glory. 𝐿𝐥𝐴 recounts how the hour called the Seven Coils was slain in battle by the Colonel, how the Grail devoured the hour called the Tide, how the egg unhatching fled like a coward. He's quite... oh, Lord. He's quite vituperative about the egg unhatching. He warns darkly against its return. But I think the egg unhatching is still dead, which would mean we still have to paint it upon our canvas. I think. I know that the Colonel, in a way, hatched from the egg unhatching, but, I mean, if that's true, then that would kind of imply that the egg unhatching is dead, even if something remains. Yes. Also, what do we get here? Recitation of lost hours. 6 are gone. 5 came from stone and 1 from light. All went to nowhere. Still their memories have power, and now we call upon it. 6 just. Okay, well that would mean that we're just missing a single aspect. Which I think then would probably be the egg. Because we have the sun in splendor, which is the one from light, and then 4 of the gods from stone. I would have assumed that there would be at least 7 aspects to mirror the 7 marks of the base ascensions, but maybe it really is just 6. Does beg the question, though, where the final one can be found. Yeah, I mean, we do have Dread and a Fleeting Reminiscence, though for now I don't think there's much we can do with it. What to study next? The sun, his course. Joel of the Bridge, retired soldier and sometime tollkeeper, wrote this epic poem about Alexander's famously inexplicable decision at Issus to withdraw from the war with the Achaemenids and his subsequent return to Macedonia. Ah, okay. I recall that in a previous installment of this playthrough, I wondered if Issus was a defeat Alexander suffered in our history as well, but this implies that in our history that was actually a victory of his, but in the first one he decided to retreat in this at this battle, which, you know, then meant the Achaemenid dynasty of the Persians continued as the Shadowless Kings well into the 5th century. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I recently in another playthrough went on an expedition in the Lone and Level Sands, which also featured a corpse, so I'm pretty sure that one is worth checking out. Now, of course, there's a chance that that would give us a memory we already have, but we'll see. Against the Watchers, the Grail's seductions. Come closer, dear ones. We have something special for you. Let's also... do we have... oh, we have 𝐶𝐞𝐧𝐜𝐞 here, who is still just a believer, so let's use this Perfect Frost to turn her into a disciple. Now, we are accruing quite a bit of dread, so let's go to the Red Church instead. A favor from authority. Each of the stained glass windows of the Red Church is devoted to a distinct appetite, and the scenes they show are from life. Last night, in one of the uglier windows, I saw the appetites of a certain public figure satisfied in private. I know he won't want this information made public. Perhaps he'll show me some consideration. A favor from authority. I've learned something that will earn me a favor, once only. I don't really want to think about the implications of this text, but a favor from authority is a favor from authority. Also, on an unrelated note, I've never quite figured out what this artwork is supposed to depict. I always thought it was a person holding a black sheet of paper, but the more I look at it, I don't think that's actually the case. Maybe it's some kind of snake? I'm still not entirely sure. Yes, definitely quite an impression. Enough of an impression to exalt, or not exalt, at least promote 𝐶𝐞𝐧𝐜𝐞 here. a bright-eyed, watchful woman who recalls her dreams perfectly. Which is interesting because she, I think, is also a medium, just one devoted to Lantern instead of Winter and the elegiast. No, eulogiast. I looked into the name and something which I should have probably realized sooner is that the root of eulogiast is eulogy or eulogist, i.e. someone who gives eulogies. So I think that's how it's pronounced, eulogiast. Isn't English fun? Yeah, that's also a possibility, that it's a hand on the shoulder, but I'm not quite, in that case I'm not quite getting, I don't quite understand the shape, because then that would probably be the thumb, but then there's only a single finger here. I don't know. Yeah, a hand on a shoulder is also something I think of, but the shape kind of doesn't really match that. Who knows? Right, another commission. Speaking of Winter, let's get this commission underway. Alright, as the sun his course, this is going to be interesting because it's going to tell us more about the first history. Alexander meets at Issus with Darius, king of kings, for 3 days and 3 nights. On the first day, the two men trade threats. On the second, promises. On the third, secrets. Darius tells Alexander something so shattering that he retires to his tent to consider matters of strength and matters of mastery. Huh! So, in the first history, Darius essentially did the same thing we can do to hunters, driving them mad with secret lore. I wonder if this means that Alexander lived a longer life in this history, even if a less legendary one. Since, you know, in ours, he did conquer half of basically everything, but then he did die of, what was it? An intestinal infection, I think, on the way back, which, I mean, it's not really that's no way to end such a storied life, and such a short one at that. But, history is just as merciless as the Watchman sometimes. 𝐶𝐴𝐴, a disciple. She still performs in the theaters sometimes. 𝐶𝐴𝐴, the posters say, finds the path. 𝐶𝐴𝐴 knows the way. Which I think is also a quote repeated in the Trysts and Interludes, if she is your paramour. Right. All that's left, the Creeping Breath Curse. The Watchers fall. Their present pleasures will end ill for them. Perhaps they'll think it's worth it. Meanwhile, we can pass. The Creeping Breath. The treasures ahead lie under a Creeping Breath Curse. Without grail or heart, it may follow us back home and settle like spores in our lungs. We call upon the Red Grail, which gives life. The Red Grail's vigor will almost certainly preserve us from the curse. I mean, I think if I recall correctly, falling off the edge of the world is kind of the excuse they used, but really, it's believed at least what they really wanted is just to go home again, because at that point they were, hadn't seen like their families for almost a decade or half a decade now, and their numbers were dwindling And I think a lot of them were wondering if they were ever going to make it back home alive. So they just said, no more, this is enough. Right, we do already have different lung spores. So hopefully there'll be no more room for these ones. Hopefully. A lantern commission. Our supply. What aspect are we? Speaking of the other spores, the elixir has set out its spores within us, and only dead flesh can quell them. But for now, our appetite is manageable, I would say. At dawn of the 4th day, Alexander announces, "The sun has his course, upon which he returns, and so do I." He returns to Macedonia, executing 2 of his captains when they dispute his decision. He brings with him the names of a blind god, and a rite of sacred betrayal. For Joe opines, without betrayal there would be an end to war. Interesting, so that's, for Joel opines, without betrayal, there would be an end to war. Well, I guess in a sense. Rite of the Rebel Striving. This rite enacts a teaching of the Forge of Days. The artisan may achieve their highest goal only by destroying their most precious tool. The Lionsmith knew this when he shattered his sword before the Colonel, so my assistant must destroy a chosen instrument. The Colonel's names. The Colonel has been many things in many ages. He is blind, he is deaf. He cannot be wounded, he cannot be denied. His names are cunning as only the very old can be. It's nice because the first half of this text alludes to the Colonel's names in the literal sense, having been many things, having had many names across the ages. But then in the second half of the text, names is capitalized, so it refers to his most exalted followers instead. Well, though 𝐒𝐤𝐥𝐞 is the blind idiot god, and the Colonel, on the other hand, is said to be very cunning. I mean, he kind of has to be. He is, after all, a military strategist. Probably the military strategist, actually. The Concursum Diaries. The diaries of the explorer and murderer Lars Vestergren. He's unhelpfully translated them into Phrygian for privacy. He basically sacrificed himself to defeat the 7 coils with the help of the Mother of Ants. And I don't recall. I think he ascended before that, but the Mother of Ants was at the time still the High Priestess of the 7 coils. And through betraying it and bathing in its blood after the Colonel had killed it, she became the Mother of Ants, one of the Hours. A god from flesh, just like the Colonel. No, he already has a commission for us. Count Jannings, on the other hand. Nice. The curse shrivels. Our power is stronger than the power that was here. The curse won't touch us. And we should now have an appetite of 2, yes. Nothing yet to be too worried about. Treasures lie before us. Ah, at last. Lantern, a substantial investigation. Let us hand that in right away. Right, yes, because, yeah, the 7 cause, I think, like, the basilisks of myth had some kind of effect with his sight, and also, basically to scar himself so completely that he basically to become so wounded and scarred that he couldn't be wounded anymore, therefore becoming invincible. Dun, 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 dun. Which is, well, that is some moon logic, but moon logic is what a lot of the hours seem to run on. Right, the diaries. There are map legends, there are maps of legends, and there are legends of maps. Aspect of Amansa subsist in all of these, in much the same way that you find water in a swamp, and in a cup, and in the sky. Yeah, he subjected himself to, lower degree maimings to build up an immunity against higher caliber of wound. Actually, does the Colonel also have knock? One would assume, with his focus on wounds and scars. A long feast. Beneath the granary, we find the deepest secret of Messana. An altar on which are displayed segments of an embalmed human body. Little of it still remains. The visitors must have been feasting on this for years. Is it long flesh? That might account for their longevity. Ah, okay, so not long themselves, but imbibers of long. Well, math in the Mansus. Well, we're going. We don't need math. Items of note are displayed on the walls. They might be trophies from unwise travelers, or they might have been possessions of the Long. There's no indication whether the Long was a willing victim, an ancestor, or a prisoner, and we'll learn nothing from the villagers now. A Greek inscription on the altar reads, "For the Flood." Ah. So, I was wondering why we're not getting any remnant. Because, I mean, the description here clearly states that there is some scamped remnants of important corpse here. But this inscription has me thinking that this would have probably given us a memory of the tide, had we not already gotten one. Alright, so that means we'll have to search elsewhere for the final aspect. Kingskin Bodhran? I think that's how you pronounce that. Kingskin Bodhran. In the deep forests, the monarch gave up the last thing they had to give, and so the tool was shaped to keep their land forever safe. Then, of course, an empire stole it, as empires do. Probably the British one, statistically speaking. In the deep forests. Though, I mean, I guess, who knows? Could have been also any other empires. And across the history, there is no shortage of those. Yes. The laws of nature and the nature of laws. For it is there that the laws are debated upon by the hours. And debated, enacted, and enforced. Yeah, I mean, couldn't be me. I would never steal this from its original resting place, or any. Don't look over here. That's nothing important. Right, now I think we could. Let's probably not the time for it yet, but I'm of a mind to use 𝐒𝐲𝐸 here to get rid of Spencer. I think he's been with us long enough. But of course he's still occupied. So, well. Westergan describes a series of expeditions into the Mansus. He focuses on the details of the experience, the colors, the vistas, the textures, rather than the practicalities. He does warn that the Mansus changes each year, although he assures the reader that the doors have been the same. Doors may close, but they never disappear. At least not while there have been mortals in the Mansus. We're like mice. And a Fenian invocation. The door in the eye navigates. He is not merciful, but first and always, he illuminates. Yeah, exactly. It's, as the, Sabbat say, if I take, what was it? I see what I want and I take it. If I can take it, it belongs to me. We don't have a commission from her. Also, what to study next? The Songs of the Carapace Cross. 𝐒𝐞𝐧𝐜𝐴's often destroyed work. Tantalizing. I don't think I've ever read this one before, so I'll have to remember not to skip past it. Because the reason I think I've never read it before is because I rarely ever explore all the places in the Lone and Level Sands. Another unresolved ambiguity. Is there anything else we should dream of? There is our affliction here. Let's turn that back into health. Ah! Lagoon's Tomb. That's actually the place I was referring to earlier. A low, slope-sided rectangle of mud brick in an obscure fold of the desert. It is not remarkable to look at, but Lagoon was counted among the immortal long, and no robber has ever breached his tomb. In a dry and distant place, dune-chained horizons await us. The river, wrote the sage 𝐿 in the Book of the Centipede, runs through the sands out of myth and into legend. This is the place the centipede was born, they say. The sands of which 𝐿 wrote hide perilous curiosities. Ah, okay, so the vagabond was born in the Lone and Level Sands. Though, I'm still not sure. Actually, hold on, those are pyramids. Okay, so it is the Sahara, not the Gobi Desert. That settles that pretty concretely. Alright. I'm waiting and waiting for the dear detective here to finally become available. But, he's busy, still. We should also, though, find a way to keep 𝐒𝐲𝐸 occupied. I mean, we could use him for a rite. 𝐒𝐞𝐧𝐸, sometimes called the Magus of Quartz, etched this work in acid on stone. It has been reproduced many times since, but the reproductions are often lost to landslides. Landslides. I mean, this looks like a knockwork. Are landslides related to knock? I mean, I think the 7 coils... landslides would have been related to the 7 coils, which moves the earth, and I think that god from stone was also related to Nox, so maybe there is a connection here. G describes the rites of the gods who were stone. The first hours, as practiced before the existence of human civilization by the Carapace Cross, he claims a final survivor of the cross shared the information with him. Right, a civilization before humanity. I think I read about these in the wiki once. Maybe they actually star in, I don't know, maybe one of the other DLC, or perhaps it was also Book of Hours. I remember reading something of that sort somewhere. Yeah. Go ahead, detective. Finish the investigation. Let's keep 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞 frozen here for now. Although no, let's first hand this in. I mean, 𝐒𝐲𝐸 still has some time on him. Health is back. And now, it would still take quite a while until Spencer is available again, so I think instead I'll actually... 12 funds. Well, don't mind if I do. Let's see here. Lagoon's tomb will be difficult to find in the desert. We must navigate by the stars. Its door has long resisted the assaults of tomb robbers. We must bring what force we can. There will likely be a curse. We must be prepared for it. Alright, what curse could be here? Yeah, we should take a knock follower for the key, a zine for the desert, and if we're lucky, maybe also for the curse, though that might also require a heart follower. Biblical giants? I don't think I know of that. Yes, but for now he'll have to slake his appetites elsewhere. As do we. That would also be interesting if some of the investigators gave us unique corpses, but I don't think that's true. A corpse is a corpse, at least as far as the hunters are concerned. Songs of the Carapace Cross. The rites are largely obsolete now. Few have been observed, in the last 1,000 years at least, to have any effect at all. Nevertheless, G identifies at least one invocation of a particular power. He warns that it should be used with caution, lest the gods who were stone might find their way back from nowhere. One god who was stone remains, and she watches all thresholds. Ah, right, with the horned axe. Right, horned axe was also knock. I'm not quite sure, but if I recall, they were, as the name already implies, Carapace Cross, they were described as being insect-like of some sort, covered in chitin, an exoskeleton of some sort. The sevenfold slaying of the seven coiled, an account of the destruction of a primeval hour, a god who was stone. Speaking of the seven coiled, this will give us more insight into that. Whose commission was this? Probably Ibn Aladim. He's, I think, the only one who gives secret history commissions. And this, then probably Count Jannings, because he was the one who gives edge. Which makes sense, since he's the representative of a confraternity of physicians and duelists, both of which I think are familiar with edge in one way or another. But yeah, so I don't know what killed the Carapace thingies. Heart or lantern. Alright. But I do know that they were... Maybe it was the floods. But yeah, there were some kind of insect-like, which, if I remember 5 Creations, the book about the different origins of humanity, does have one origin called the Carapace origin. So that one would imply that we are descended from the, you know, Carapace thingamajigs. I mean, 𝐿 and 𝐸𝐞 are very much related, since one is related to struggle and the other one is related to opening. If 𝐸𝐞 wasn't a special extra lore aspect that gets to subvert everything, I suspect it would have probably subverted 𝐿. And then probably itself be subverted by winter. But, for whatever reason, 𝐿 gets the special express pass. Oh, there is one dread. Nothing to worry about quite yet. Oh, and Spencer Hobson with his tentative evidence. That's cute. Sylvia, if you will. Thank you. Right. 12 Grail should probably be enough. Now, let's see. The 7 Coiled. There are 12 verses. In the first, an ascendant hour identified as the Scarred One enumerates his justifications for destroying the 7 Coiled. Its appetites, its growth, its enmity. I still don't know how to pronounce that properly to humanity. In the second, a priestess puts out his eyes and scars his skin to protect him against the 7 Coiled's magics. In each of the next 7 verses, he destroys one aspect of the 7 Coiled. Right. Okay. Yeah, so here also, the priestess here is the, at this point, still mortal Mother Vance. And also, I just remembered, the 7 verses, the 7 Coiled, and 7 is also the number of 𝐸𝐞, because all other 7, for one, because all other 7 aspects convert into it, and I suspect also because of 𝐸𝐞's heavy parallels, I guess, with Christianity. Which, the sun in wrath. Day after day, the sun tautens our skin, dries our mouths, floods our skulls with savage light. We might be lost. It's impossible we're lost. Oh, let's hope not. Let's hope this doesn't wound anyone. That should be enough? Yes. Yeah, I mean, you could say that 𝐸𝐞 is about openings, and 𝐿 is about the struggle that precedes openings. But yeah, there is definite congruity there. Right, we have one bit of despair, so we should not tread upon the Worm Museum. Last night I visited the Red Church, where the Grail conducts its feasts. The light through the stained glass windows was all the spectra of red, and the names of the Grails labored to birth a new desire which had until today no name at all. I am sticky with the memory of it. Ugh. And this morning everything I see is tinted ruby. Fascination. Light leaks through the cracks. My mind is brighter than it ever was. The higher I rise, the more I see. Let's hope that doesn't become a problem. Who gets wounded? Azim. Okay, wow. Then I guess we'll need our forge followers. Azim is sulking. Azim will be fine, eventually. Huh, well there go our plans to deal with Spencer. And there go our plans to deal with his evidence. Sylvia, come on now. And there's more dread. Everything seems to be going quite splendidly right now. In the 10th verse, the Scarred One bathes his priestess patron in the blood of the Seven Coiled to lend her power. In the 11th, they assault the temple behind the world, entering it by force. In the 12th, they spear a tripartite oath to protect their ancestors, their descendants, and themselves. Yeah. Sadly, it seems we can't drink of Azim ourselves, unlike Kryn Crucible, but that just means we'll have to find the final aspect somewhere else. Actually, was there? I don't think... Was there a Grail god from stone? I don't know. I don't quite know. Right, that's for Poppy. I should probably paint some. Because maybe, just maybe, this will give us what we seek. Yeah, sadly not. Damn it. Yeah, that wasn't very clever of me. I dreamt last night of the Worm Museum. The Hours have said words about it and warnings before it, but they have left it open to mortal adepts who can prove themselves by reaching it. Perhaps they hope to inspire revulsion against the things that breed in the corpse of the sun. Those things are here still, always dying, never dead. They came from nowhere, the warnings say, and if they complete their work, the Mansus will be nowhere too one day. That's not exactly what we needed, so opium time. In times of a special crisis, I might visit a discreet pharmacist to purchase a tincture of opium to make my dreams sweet. But only in times of a special crisis. Yeah, this is a time of a special crisis, I would say. Yes, okay, there's at least something. The sun in splendor. The sun is setting. We look back across the desolation we crossed, at all the colors it assumes in the evening light. Night falls, stars prickle, the wind presses cold hands to our faces. Onwards. Alright, so that's her healed. Let's hopefully take care of this. Damn it. Although, actually, no, it should be fine. Oh, that deep peace. But I should not do this again. Yes, I'm inclined to agree. So, the next season will be one of suspicion, but I think we can destroy this evidence before that happens. Right, more funds, but other than that we have... Oh, not quite everything, we need almost everything. Okay, okay, more contentment, very good. Let's paint with one of them to preserve it. We should probably also take care of this chilly atmosphere at the earliest opportunity. We call upon the Forge of Days, who ends what will not change. Our tools are ready. We should be able to penetrate this warded door, but let's increase our odds. We call upon the Forge of Days, who will end all nights. Supplies. The funds for the expedition are always used to purchase supplies, which, I mean, that we certainly do need in the desert. The dreams of curios behind glass. Tonight I will dream of a museum. In the display cases of the Impossible Museum, I always see an apple white as snow and hard as marble, a golden beetle in a stern box, a coy geometry awaiting my touch, a black envelope bursting with spring, a brass opera box for instruments of record and measure, a storm in a tin. I always wake before I see the aisle's end. Alright, not what we needed, but at the same time, I won't complain. Now, can we make sure... Ah, my minion has returned. The evidence has been destroyed. We are a little safer. So now let's hand in these commissions. Yes, I think, yeah, this will turn into dread just before this can grab it. So now let's neutralize this. Very good, very good. Also, we'll be able to summon back 𝐒𝐲 in a moment. So, actually, let's do that. I always forget which the best rite is. Probably this one, since this is an easy way to gain Forge aspect. 𝐒𝐲 already. Am I considering summoning 𝐒𝐲? 𝐒𝐲 is still sulking in the Mansus, so we can't do that. I wonder, just out of pure curiosity, what will be the text if I would try to summon, what was his name? King Crucible. There we go. For that, the best rite I think would be this one. No, wait, this one. An Assistant of Knock and an Invocation of Forge. King Crucible? Really? I consumed King Crucible's cindered remains. He will be wroth with me. It does not do to summon a name of the Forge who is wroth with you. Yeah, so, okay, so we can't even attempt it. But we can summon 𝐒𝐲 in 8 seconds. Alright, the final challenge, the 5th Eye Curse. We have enough heart. Hopefully that'll be enough. Because nothing else will be. Okay, so now... No, we need, this. An offering of Forge, an invocation of Grail. Summon one of the named emanations of the Red Grail. Yeah, I can't. I can't believe King Crucible said it's crucibling time and wrathed all over me. That was quite unprofessional, I think. Does the Manses have an HR department? Probably not. Or if it does, it's probably headed by the Red Grail or something, which is arguably worse. We call upon the Forge of Days who will end all night. Oh, right, we still haven't made it past the door, somehow. And we grow hungrier, though not quite desperately hungry yet. The Devoured Tantra. The diplomat priest Stanislav John Schaller transcribed this from the library of a Red Long. But his manuscript remains a private collection in Kezhesham. I mean, we can also loot Kezhesham. I mean, Winter and Crucible, what was it? Forge aren't really diametrically opposed. Though, I mean, I guess kind of. Despair abates, good. Now, well, that will become despair in quite a moment. Though we still have this one hanger on. Haha, there we go. So many rich aromas, like a feast upon the air, but first and mostly blood. I wonder who the first Thirstly is. One of the texts from the Red Church mentioned different categories of Grail names, one of them being Thirstly, so Azim is the second one of those. I wonder who the first is. The death of a door. Good, good, very nice. I should probably have painted to get rid of that. What was it? Yes, despair. But we can wait on that. The Devoured Tantra, right. Yeah, that's true. Though I think the biggest opposition is probably Heart and Winter. Ironic, since they are directly adjacent to one another. But one of them is endings and the other one is eternity. The Devoured Tantra warns of the uses and dangers of appetite, but devotes an entire passage to the star-limbed hunger bringers, who it describes with obvious affection. So those are raw prophets. Yes. Don't think I've summoned them much because, well, if you have Azim, there isn't much of a need, is there? Another unresolved ambiguity. Wait, wasn't he a Phylexian? Yeah, so let's request a stay of execution. The residents of the manses are not subject to the ills of the flesh. Some of them, sometimes, can extend their protection to those of us trapped out here in the wake. So, I mean, that's not really too useful, but it also can't hurt to have some protection against disease. I don't quite remember how it worked, but, well, guess we'll find that out. A stay of execution. All flesh fails, But I've been promised that my flesh will fail a little later. This is a final insurance against sickness, if no health remains to us. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this isn't useful at all then. Not really, at least. Because, we still have 4 health. Yeah, yoga and lifestyle coaching. Alright, I think now, if we talk to him, we should get Spencer Hobson just in time. His erraticness has made him elude us thus far, but I think his road is about to come to an end. Oh, good, the curse shrivels. In other news, we are growing very hungry now. The Red Church. Yes, we don't want the dread. Right, so an ivory, a lovely, and a thirstly. Those seem to be the 3 types of names of the Grail. 𝐒𝐤𝐥𝐞 being, of course, a thirstly. I wonder what the other 2 do. Ivory, of course, is usually more associated with winter and chiefly the ivory dove. So I don't know what that's doing with the Grail in the Red Church, but send an unstoppable force to murder a hunter. Unless this hunter has some unusual protection, they're already dead. But their demise will attract attention. Alright, the expedition is about to come to a close. Which is good because we have to keep a real eye out now on our hunger. But no one could have survived that. Now and then tenacious hunters somehow survive attacks that should have killed them, but their luck always runs out in the end. And there are other ways to destroy a hunter beside physical assault. Alright, well, if at first you don't succeed, try again. The known unknown Tantra, 𝐭𝐡𝐢𝐧𝐼𝐴, an ecstatic mystic of the Pyrenees, was known to recite this in 3 languages, though he had never visited the subcontinent. The Pyrenees, where were those again? Geography fails me. Alright, so no corpse for us yet, but soon. In the central chamber, Lagoon, the once immortal Long, lies peacefully naked on a sandalwood bier. He is perfectly preserved, a slender, dark-skinned man in excellent physical health. But at our approach, he crumbles into blackened flakes like fallen leaves. Objects glint from the remains, so hopefully we'll be able to consume those remains. If not, we'll have to keep exploring. Aha, there we go. One more treasure. I will gather what I can of Lagoon's remains. I will find a way to unlock the memories within, even if I have to steep it in tea. Right, because it's just powder now. We find a pocket watch, a book, a quantity of Algerian currency, all from our own era. He must have come and gone many times from this place before he resigned himself to his final rest. On the back of the watch, we see engraved the closed eye of the long society called the Obliviates. Yes, corn. Ooh, and here we have the Oh, this game, it challenges me. Alakapurine Shears. In the north, there is a city of great wealth where dwelt a protector of the world. One day he fell silent. These shears were used to take from him first his hair and then his fingers and then what remained. And these very shears are the ones that Matthias and the amethyst imago used to cut off the imago's wings and, well, basically castrate Matthias so that they could be together without risking the creation of offspring. And we have the Atlas of Dreams. The shape of the world changes in each past, but the shape of the manses is reflected in all of them. One cannot map the manses, but one can make an attempt to map its reflections. A tool, but it's secret history, so we could theoretically also explore it. But now, first and foremost, let's search for promising cemeteries, because, yeah, our hunger is certainly acting up. Prowl the streets, seeking places of burial which are close, but not too close. Populous, but not too busy. Long flake. Oh my god. I guess we're both prophets. I don't actually know if it was his member. I think it was just, you know, basically his balls, I think. Though the text isn't exactly clear. But yeah, speaking of cornflakes, you've tried cornflakes? Have you heard of long flakes? I will gather what I can of Lagoon's remains. I will find a way to unlock the memories within, even if I have to steep it in tea. Or, you know, with some milk for a hearty and balanced breakfast. Yes, indeed. Though currently, of course, our dedication is still busy. Oh, right, and we also have some other stuff here. Holiest hemolymph. Faint traces of an enigmatic substance spilt in the commission of an commission or commitment? Wouldn't it? In the commission of an ancient crime, tightly sealed in a glass ampule. Who will remember the barber's son? So, what was hemolymph again? Hemolymph was the blood of insects. And I think this hemolymph is a remnant of the moth hatching from the thigh of the wheel. And earlier, I think, I don't know how long ago it was, I posited the theory that since the wheel is just like the Thunderskin described as pumping blood, maybe the wheel is actually not a heart like the Thunderskin, but the primitive organ of insects that pumps blood for them, because I know they don't have a heart like vertebrates have. But they have some kind of primitive form of that organ. And this hemolymph lends credence to that theory, I think. That, you know, the Thunderskin is a god symbolized by the heart of anthropods, so of humans, for example. And before the Thunderskin, the god of heart from stone was a god with the symbolism of that proto-heart that insects have. I would have to look more into it, but I'm pretty sure I remember that from biology class all those years ago. But anyway, Azoth. Store this only in containers of a pure element, and never permit it to grow warm. Perhaps it isn't the final solvent the alchemist sought, but it will do for all purposes. So, a final solvent, so basically super acid, if I understand this correctly. Oop, right, we're still have that one despair, so I think maybe, since we do also have all this notoriety, let's get to painting. That would be cool if we could use this to paint. But I guess we can, but only after we've digested it. Cemetery. And now. Feast upon a remnant, like consuming raw spice. Very little remains, but the taste, the unheralded taste. And I think once 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞𝐧𝐜𝐞 has completed his task, we can set him to... Really? Again. Wow. Okay. Well, if at first you don't succeed, try again, and if you don't succeed then, try again. So let's instead send 𝐿𝐼𝐥𝐿. A disinterment, stealthy excavations by the soft light of a hooded lantern. And I have a memory of thresholds, ready to paint. Liminal memory. We each of us have a memory of a moment where things changed forever, though at the time we never knew it. Perhaps the world also has those memories. I mean, my assumption is that this, will give us... my assumption was, at least, that this will give us memories of the egg, but liminal? I mean, liminal would be knock, which would be the 7 coils, but that one we already had, so... who knows? Let's call it an early night for now. Good work. But no contentment, sadly. I wonder if I use 1 passion, 3 notoriety. That would give us... It still has a chance of generating contentment, and it will mean that we'll have 4 passion once this has... Yeah, I guess Spencer Hobson is just built different. We tried pulling him into despair. That didn't work. We tried tempting him with the Light of the Mansus. That didn't work. We've sent 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞 3 times after him now, I think. That also didn't work. Alright, now for a more regular remnant. And now to once again send out 𝐿𝐼𝐥𝐿 here. The colors of night. If I spend some funds, maybe that increases the chance of getting contentment. I don't actually know, but we have the funds to spare, so... Oh, very good. That takes care of that despair. We have something shameful. Good for... what was it? Gaining some funds. Alright, 2 more. So in other words, 1 more after this. I mean, suppose we could also overfeed, but there's not really a need for that, so... Exceptional work. Oh yeah, I think that does indeed increase the chance of getting contentment. But now it is time to... wait. 3 seconds. And with 4 passion now, we paint a liminal memory, a forgotten color, A purple evening sky shot with red gold. Are you serious? I don't... I don't even... Okay. Wards and seals, our enemy possesses the most dangerous weapon of all, knowledge. Your summoning has fallen prey to your adversary's countermeasures. Mystic hunters know the proper protections and will usually survive attacks from summoned minions, but sooner or later they'll make a mistake. But he isn't a mystic, is he? Oh no, wait. When did he become a mystic? Ugh. Well, I guess that's 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞 done again. So, I guess Spencer Hobson doesn't want to go. Fine, okay. Okay. I mean, that's honestly kind of fine by me. Yeah, he's just like, nah, I'd win. Also, where did, we had something shameful, I think, here, but, yeah, it got buried underneath all this useless stuff. One more Feast of the Honey Dove after this one, so one final disinterment. 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞, get the shovel. Yeah. Invader, defeated. When I remember the horned axe, I recall the scent of hawthorn. I recall a purple evening sky shot with red gold. I recall that her edges dripped where she had lately been at work. What? But the horned axe is still alive? Okay. That's unexpected. I would have assumed that we didn't have to paint the horned axe because the horned axe famously survived as the only god from stone. Yeah, that'll be next. We'll just send, we'll just send mass maids after him, though honestly it's not a big hurry since whenever he manages, he is first of all erratic, so he has the lowest chance of anyone to become a problem for us, despite how much notoriety we have, and whenever he does manage to create evidence, well, we always have, the thingy at the ready. Our moth followers, who are, I think, okay, so Sylvia we probably shouldn't send anymore. 𝐒𝐢𝐵et probably also. Okay, so all of our moth followers are indeed, are in fact pretty wounded already. So then I think we should send, what were their names? 𝐭𝐴𝐺𝐼𝐺𝑖NES? Something like that. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but on the other hand, I kind of have to respect it. If someone survives that many attacks, I don't know, maybe we should let them live. They've kind of earned it, no? Right, that should be our last feast. Let's also dream some more. Something joyful again. Okay, yep, our appetite is slaked. So let's hand in these. Alright, what do we have here? I have stalked the image like a hunter, never looking it in the eye. No pigment I have can express these lost colors, and so I must understate them. When I remember the horned axe, I recall the scent of hawthorn. I recall a purple evening sky shot with red gold. I recall that her edges dripped where she had lately been at work. Alright, 6 aspects. So... yeah, or I guess dodges and 1 counter. So that's all of the gods from stone, right? We have the Tide, the 7 coil, the Flint, the Wheel, and the Horned Axe. 1 second, I think... what was it? One of these mentioned... I'm pretty sure... no, was it Knock? One of these, one god who was stone remains. Okay, that mentions that. The Colonel, the Lionsmith. No, no, no. The Sun and Splendor. 6 are gone. 5 came from stone and 1 from light. All 6 went to nowhere. Still, their memories have power, and now we call upon it. Alright, but all of those 6 are now upon the canvas, right? The 5 from stone... no, wait. There's 6 from stone in total. So... 1 remains, 1 god from stone. The egg! Yeah, of course, the egg. How could I forget? We're still looking for the egg. I wonder where we'll find that. Probably not in the Lone and Level Sands. Probably either the Rending Mountains or maybe the continent. Alright, that's one mission handed in. Do we get any new books? The Voyages of Fenin Shun of Oriol, the impossible travels of a sea captain of the late Phoenician era, suppressed throughout a recorded history. Those who read it were said to disappear. So, let's hope that doesn't happen to us. But for now, we'll just translate it. The Lone and Level Sands. The Temple of 7 Coils, a crumbling temple in a shadowed defile. It was built, it seems, in the 3rd history, the one where much later the worms overran Europe, but it exists in all the histories now. Right, this one would have probably also given us a memory of the 7 Coiled, at least I'm assuming, because, well, it is literally the temple of the 7 Coiled. But that one we do already have, so I'm in no rush to explore it. Oh, no spoilers, please. Right, something shameful. Right, new commissions. Yeah, do I want to know that? I think knowing the number is okay. Nine. Yeah, I have no idea. 9. So we're missing 1, which would be the egg. But then what are the other 2? Maybe because now one of the aspects here is of the Horned Axe, which isn't dead yet. So that also opens the possibility that it's some of the hours that are still alive. Oh, right. I remember now. In the in one of my other playthroughs, I got what was it? The blood of, I think, Saint Januarius, and I noticed that it had the remnant tag. Yeah, that I think we also haven't feasted on yet. I remember now. So I think that we'll have to find in the Evening Isles. I think for now I don't want to know where the final one can be found, or I guess the last two ones. Though I guess I should probably check some of the other stuff I have here. If it has the remnant tag. Carcass Spark, funnily enough, doesn't, which is... I mean... I think it's kind of funny because it has Carcass in the name, though. I think it would have made sense if a Carcass Spark gave you the memory of the Sun and Splendor, but I guess not. Alright, I don't see any remnant tag on anything we have yet, so we'll have to instead venture to the Evening Isles again. Good thing we already have these two Vagabonds maps. Really? One of the relics, you mean? Because I know that the blood of Saint Janus has the remnant tag. Oh! Oh! Though, wouldn't this just give us the memory of the wheel again? Who knows? So now, let's not explore these yet, because we want the blood of Saint, what was his name? Let's bolster our finances a little. Alright, so now before we read this, a travelogue of sorts. Interesting. Usually, if we translate the text, the amount of information on the description increases or stays the same. In this one, I'm pretty sure it just decreased because the untranslated version had quite a bit more information on it. Maybe that's an oversight, maybe that's deliberate. Who knows? I mean, I could imagine that it should have been the other way around initially. But anyways. Oh, I already have erudition. So we can set to getting our Port Noon anecdote right away. And so sadly... Okay, so we don't have any... We don't have any glimmering yet. Maybe this will give us some. Let's search in the Rending Mountains. Into the night. So first, it always takes the erudition. After that, it takes the glimmering. Alright, dread. We can deal with it. What's the next season? Okay, a season of dread. Let's dream of an early night. What do you mean, one of the memories is fooling us? I don't think I know what you refer to yet, but maybe I'll find out soon. Hopefully. Let's hope. Alright. Erudition. Okay. I hope maybe Bichette will give us some passionate lore commissions. Yeah, moth. But never mind, we also have glimmering from this source. Now, what's this? Tombs of the Shadowless Kings. In a rearing outcrop of lion-colored rock, laborers carved tombs for the first kings of this land. Those kings had hoped to be immortal, and perhaps one of them is. The others lie among their trinkets. A hereditary order of guardians watches closely. We found all the expeditions in the Rending Mountains, though we can find and visit the tombs several times. Just got, I think, a Discord ping, which is odd, because I thought I had put that on hold. Let's just quit the application for now. I mean, yeah, one of them can be gained from the holiest hemolymph. And, oh, right, one of them also, as the, I think, palest painting alludes, yeah, from our own dying flesh. So, yeah, actually, next sickness we get, we're actually going to allow to turn into decrepitude. What could we explore? We could sell some more spinty. Okay, is there any more? I think we still have the illumination before us. Okay, plenty of joy. Right, edgelore. You mean decrepitude? I mean, the pale canvas, does kind of tell you directly that, you'll have to use decrepitude with the own dying flesh bit, so I don't think it's too obtuse. I think what we are mainly very lucky of is that we managed to catch the fact that we can eat King Crucible, because I just errantly had that thought fall into my head. I was like, I mean, isn't this technically also a remnant? And then I checked and it was, because otherwise I think that would have been the most difficult one to figure out. But could be that now we actually have pretty much, or at least a good idea of where pretty much all the, what was it, all the thingies are, all the remaining memories. Remnant. Once another wore this flesh. I mean, this is a direct remnant, I think, of the wheel. So, odds are that won't give us anything new, but, I mean, who knows. We'll also ideally only use it once we have some graveyard mouth accrued. Unresolved ambiguity. Mission. Let's hand that one in first things first. And let's next work on knock. Reason. And right back into the peacock door. I mean, yeah, I would prefer it, I think, if we stayed a little, obtuse when it comes to the final remains, because I do think, for now at least, I want to figure that one out myself. Maybe later if I become, like, frustrated, ere the, this playthrough become bogged down, I will accept some more hints, but for now I think I wanna figure that one out all myself. Good, that's that taken care of. Yeah, I'm currently, trying to... because I know that, I remember from my other playthrough, which was the priest, but, so I didn't have any use for it, but there I got, from one of the Evening Isle expeditions, the blood of St. Januarius, and I noticed that it had the remnant tag. And that one I think you can only get from the Evening Isles. Yes, that's very good. Right, can I speak to anyone about anything? I mean, not that much of a need. Okay, always takes so long to deepen or subvert this such high-level lore, which is why I tend to avoid it if at all possible. But there isn't any other way to get Port Moon anecdotes, so... Okay, let's try our luck at the Worm Museum. Let's... Blinking in the light. And I also think once we explore this Port Noon anecdote, that'll be the final one as well. I don't think there are any more, or no, wait, after we explore this Port Noon anecdote, there won't be any more unique Evening Isle locations. There will, however, still be, of course, Port Noon itself. But that does kind of guarantee that once we use this, we'll get where we need to go. Yeah, I'm quite excited, so that's one of the reasons I've been streaming with for my for me at least bewildering tenacity these last days, because I want to finish this playthrough and then finally play Book of Hours. Port Noon anecdote. Port Noon is where the long go to enjoy the sea and the sun, to drink from the spring that makes them forgotten, and to stay out of trouble. Mostly out of trouble. The stories you can hear in 𝐭𝐡𝐴 Ciervo are golden-dewed, quintuple distilled toasts to memory, served straight up. Exploring with this scrap of knowledge may uncover secret locations in the Evening Isles, where Port Noon is located across the great ocean. Across a bright far sea, Port Noon lies. Exiles, monsters, and visionaries have long favored the waters around it. Perhaps we shouldn't get too close, but it might be useful to get close enough. Okay, once we get another season of ambition, which will then increase our graveyard mouth, I'll indulge in the holiest hemolymph. Until then, I'll hold off on it. One thing I'm also very excited about, which is, currently in development, would be traveling at night. the full-on CRPG set in, you know, the Secret Histories world setting, which Weather Factory is currently developing. One of the big reasons I'm very excited about that one is that the main inspiration is stated to be Disco Elysium. Also, a game I also haven't actually yet played, which I hope to do one day here on this channel. Because, yeah, that is one of the, like, greats, or the great, when it comes to narrative CRPGs. And, I mean, at least, 𝐿 the writer, does already have experience writing for CRPGs, that being, of course, Fallen London, Sunless Seas, and Sunless Skies. Back when they worked for Fail Better, I think it was. Okay, what can we study now? Right, this. The Voyages of Fermenshun of Aureol. Fermenshun clearly visited the Mansus, sailing the length of the Painted River. He also claims to have traversed a sea of finest sand, to have dared the blazing waves of the sun's surface, and to have descended to an underworld ocean lit by lamps of black nephrite. Oh. Oh. Wait. Which stats are you talking about? Right. And a descent, an underworld ocean lit by lamps of black nephrite. That would be the Nowhere, I guess. Which I have never heard before to be an underworld. Hold on, is this, speaking of, is this a reference to Sunless Seas? Because, you know, that has the, what was it, Untersee, which is an underworld ocean. Ah, okay. Yeah, I mean, if it really takes mainly inspiration from Disco Elysium, in that RPG, your different, basically, parts, the different parts of your psyche are your stats. So a stat is empathy, another stat is your instincts called half-light, another is your electrochemistry, another is your imagination or your visual calculus, and at the same time, those stats and parts of your psyche are also characters that speak to you. The higher the stat is leveled, the more the stat or that part of your psyche speaks to you and urges you to act in a way that that corresponds with, you know, what it's about. So electrochemistry will goad you on to consume alcohol and other drugs. Empathy will tell you about what another person might be feeling. Yeah, I mean, black nephrite, I've only ever heard that before used to describe Nowhere, both in the ending of the Forge Apostle, and I think in some place else. But yeah, this is the first place I've heard. Right, this we have here now. Saint Tentreto of the Deep Door. A monastery hangs grimly to a cliff edge. It should have fallen into the sea by now, but we have heard the monks drown victims in a deep pool beneath to win the Cistern Witch's protection from the sea. One more year, one more year. Right, I think, yeah, I don't think I know this gives us the blood of St. Janus if we just explore it, but I think we should first get some people to explore it with, right? Mortal followers are good and all, but I would like something a bit more incandescent and replaceable. I mean, enough time has passed. Welcome back, 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞, for the umpteenth time. Another Vagabonds map. So I think those should be all we need to explore all of the sites in the Lone and Level Sands as well. Speaking of which, actually... Right, no wait, this place we've also... Ooh! Huh, I didn't expect that. The Voyages of 𝐿𝐼𝐼𝐿 of 𝐒𝐢𝐿. 𝐿𝐼𝐼𝐿's final voyage is to retirement on a peaceful island across an evening sea, where he identifies a spring whose waters will keep him safe. I will be forgotten, he declares, and this work my only trace. I had expected this to be a Vagabonds map because of the mention of the Lone and Level Sands here, but no, it's actually another Port Moon anecdote. Well, I won't say no to that. So, I mean, at this point, it's not even that necessary for us to go into the Peacock store anymore. We've almost uncovered everything at this point. Yeah, actually, we should have probably called it an early night instead. Oh well, it's not that bad. Let's instead use some of this dread, along with Rose here, and this, to turn her into another disciple. And now, let's study the known unknown Tantra. Right, we translated that, but then we had bigger fish to fry in terms of reading, so let's get that over with now. And after I've summoned 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞, I should probably summon 𝐭𝐡𝐤𝐿. I always forget their names, but the smoky... Oop, a rebellious spirit. Well then, another day, 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞. I am not about to risk everything for you. War Museum, Red Church. I think it's a safer bet to go to the Red Church. The season of dread is now coming. When I visited the Red Church last night, they told me, between their clawings and their caresses, that the flower maker had visited but lately with this nectar and his promise. I woke twined in sodden sheets, with the amaranthine nectar brimming in my hand. I captured what I could of it, only a few drops, but it will be enough. One of the flower maker's many gifts. In a brighter age, it might have bestowed immortality. In this blighted history, it is still an unparalleled sweetness. Which one was the flower maker again? Was that a unique hour, or was that another name of the Forge of Days? No. I don't think it was the Forge of Days, but I don't remember which god that was again either. But I do know that they were involved at the very least in the intercalate. The known unknown Tantra, the light of a lantern can only ever reveal the space between the forest shadows. Alright, not that useful, obviously, for us now, but... well. Let's also translate this, because once it becomes usable for GHOUL, it will increase in value. Ah, yeah, that could be the mare in the tree. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Yeah. You're right. Alright. Ah, okay, so at least, sending 𝐒𝐢𝐴 home still means we can summon it right again. But for now, I will try to summon something which has both Forge and Lantern. No, wait, if I had Winter, I might contact something smoky. If I add Lantern, I might contact an incandescent power. Okay, so we need Winter. Is there... If we had Dread, we could use that. But we don't. So instead... What we could use... What could we use? We could use Wolf Snow, but that would be... I mean, that would kind of be a waste. This is not enough. Huh. I mean, I guess we have enough Wolf Snow. So... let's use it. Yeah, but I have more Wolf Snow. And we can also use the Grey Dawn oil to paint. Yeah, but I'm kind of... I'm impatient, to be entirely honest. So, we'll use this and this. Summon a creature of smoky deception. Forge for the smoky spirit summoning. Winter for its binding. It must know who will rule it. There we go. New commission from him. Just bleak thoughts, no despair. Lucky. More contentment, not that we really need it anymore. Hopefully this summoning will go well. Port Noon. There is a choice that every immortal must make. Enter the service of an hour, or return to the mortal ranks, or face extinction. The sunny little island port called Noon is an exile realm of the immortals who refused all those options. It sounds like, honestly, that sounds like by far the best deal, being exiled to Port Noon. Because, yeah, serving the hours can be pretty rough. And, of course, returning mortal after everything you've done to become a long is kind of, underwhelming. And being obliterated, obviously, most would try to avoid that as well. Oh, we're about to become hungry for the first time in a very long time. Which means we can begin... Ah, there we go. A 𝐒𝐤𝐥𝐞. Wait, hold on, why did I do this? I don't... There's not even any notoriety for Spencer to turn into evidence. So this was kind of... I mean, it was a bit pointless, but... we can still use this for the expedition. At the corners of the forge, in the bounds of the mansus, the glory's fire meets baser elements. Here is a cunning vapor to infect your enemy's dreams. Oh, was this? Where did we put Nebichet's commission? That's the counts. Oh, there we are. I'm blind, it seems. what to dream of. I mean, there's no reason not to go to the peacock door. The Watchful Tantra, not that much of a not that powerful of a work, but we don't have that much else to study anymore. But we do have Appetite, which will quell shortly with the holiest hemolymph. Now, in the meanwhile, I think we want to, yes, get ourselves, once again, 𝐒𝐤𝐥𝐞. Hopefully he'll play nice this time. The auction is complete. The auctioneer's gavel bangs. My item has sold. Okay, so Saint Tentreto of the Deep Door. The monks of Saint Tentreto will not be inclined to allow us to pass. They will hide their treasures well, and if we manage to seize them, no doubt they will pursue us with curses. Alright, so a heart follower for the curses, I think, first and foremost. Considering the evidence. And now that we've grown hungry again, I mean, we could have, of course, indulged in this before that, but I think that would have been a bit of a waste. Oh, a whole lot. We've pretty much, I mean, apart from the chateau, the Temple of the Seven Coils, and maybe one more place in the Lone and Level Sands, we've raided every single unique vault. Every single one. Which I don't know if I've ever done that. The Tantra describes processes of occult illumination, including a formula which may show the way from the Hunter's Gate to the Serpent Gate, which in the West is usually called the Spider's Door. Okay, so this should give us a pretty high level lantern lore then. Not that we really need it, but it's appreciated nonetheless. Okay, so we have a hidden door, monks, and the fifth eye curse. So first and foremost, let's add some more. What could we add more of? I think, yeah, adding our winter exalted here against the curse. And then I think, that's the question. Do I want to risk any of my moth followers? Not really. So I think I'll go with Edge instead. I think this is the third. This Temple of the Seven Coils is the third vault of. Is the third vault of the Lone and Level Sands. Monks, a likely deception. Right. I mean, we could also just pray that 8, or rather, I guess 5 moth is enough. And if not, then. Although, no, wait. Ooh, damn it. Seem doesn't want to play nice, it seems. Oh, right. It actually, the fifth eye curse, if it clings, the dormant fifth eye curse actually mentions that the fourth eye was something, I think, related to... the fourth eye curse was something related to the ascendancy of Lantern Long, I think. Or something like that. I don't quite remember, to be honest. Alright, let's try this again. Alright, the sun passes through the house at the appointed time. Since the sun's division, the time has become uncertain. Watchman's Sorrow. What's left to study? The deeds of the scarred captain, painstakingly assembled by the soldier of fortune and sometime remittance man, Pavel Shulga, during his years in Greece. The monk's delusion, nice. Faith is a double-edged weapon. These monks have great talent in the matter of believing, and so they have believed our lies. Alright, so we'll need also, what was it? Yes, lantern to get past the door. So pop Clifton and then sleep. And finally, Azim. Let's, I mean, Spencer Hobson right now is tenacious and mystic, so it's extremely difficult to kill him. I guess, I mean, do I also, maybe I have some poison actually that I could use. Kraydon, oh no, that's not poison. That's also not poison. Because he isn't wary yet, so... As long as he isn't wary, we can use... Talk to poison him. Yep. Rematch number, I've forgotten. Rematch number, a lot. Let's keep it at that, a lot. Okay, no, we sadly also don't have any good poison. So, alright, translated, but before we do that, I think, feast upon a remnant. I had wondered what the taste might be, but chiefly now, my experience is that it is gooey. Ugh, I don't know why, but somehow this one feels like the most revolting yet. Of all the things we've eaten. Oh, god damn it, Spencer! We call upon the watchman who navigates, who illuminates. That should be that. Yeah, although I think it's match 4 this night, but if maybe he actually also survived some attacks the night before. Though, yeah, it's at least 4. Yeah, it's, Hemolymph is, bug blood, insect blood, or... I have a memory of the hunt at which the wheel was first brought to Earth. Wildering memory. Sometimes we remember what was lost, even when we have forgotten that it is gone. Okay, yeah, so as I suspected, this thing is related to the wheel, but we already have the wheel painted on the canvas. Interesting. Strange. But I don't think we have a wildering memory yet, so let's paint. Nope. Come on. There we go. A forgotten color. The wood before it's darkening, its fruits poison green, its carmelian roots. Now I'm curious what this will net us. Alright, so the 5th round has been postponed because Spencer got grabbed. So I don't think we can consider that one a true match yet. Oop, sickness. Oh, logistical difficulties, yes, but we have enough winter against the 5th Icors. Yep. But now he comes home from work and finds an unstoppable force. Unless this hunter has some unusual protection, which unfortunately he does, plenty, both tenacious and mystic now, they're already dead, but their demise will attract attention. Whatever. Attention, I think, is no longer a concern of ours. What could we study? This. An account of the founding of 𝐒𝐤𝐥𝐞 by a scarred captain who first slew 7 monsters to make the land safe. 7 monsters, or the 7 coiled. Yeah, let's see if Nazim won't get his comeuppance. Sooner or later, he'll slip up. Sooner or later. We call upon the eulogiist from whom nothing more can be taken. The eulogiist knows what is already lost. No, his power will almost certainly protect us. Okay, so... The wood before it's darkening, its fruits poison green, its carnelian roots. I've stalked the image like a hunter, never looking it in the eye. No pigment I have can express these lost colors, and so I must understate them. The wood before it's darkening, its fruits poison green, its carnelian roots. The moth's eyes are merry with hunger. He is hunting. Ooh, that one is really fuzzy. Okay, so this is the moth? Which... Huh? I mean, the moth is, like, fully alive still. So I don't know entirely why the moth would be commemorated on this canvas. Wards and seals. Our enemy possesses the most dangerous weapon of all, knowledge. Our summoning has fallen prey to our adversaries' countermeasures. Mystic hunters know the proper protections and will usually survive the attacks from summoned minions. But sooner or later, they'll make a mistake. Okay. Oh, right, yes, the affliction. Good catch. Alright, so that's 5 for 5 in favor of Spencer Hobson, the champion. The curse shrivels. Ah, the deeds of the scarred captain. As the captain destroys each monster, a flood of blood rises higher, until at last a priestess drowns and is reborn as a serpent goddess. She blesses the captain, and he departs for the house above the forest, leaving 𝐒𝐤𝐥𝐞 to reign supreme after the flood of blood subsides. Yeah, again, the 7 coiled. Dying at the hands of the Mother of Ants, and... the Mother of Ants and the Colonel. Okay, so let's let this decay, our own dying flesh. And I think we now finally have everything. If it is indeed 9, then these are 7. This will give us 1 more remnant. This will give us 1 more remnant. That should be all of them. Kind of have to think now. Do we... I think I want to commit all of them. I'm probably going to wait till next time to commit all of them to the canvas. Now, the question, do we want to summon Maids in the Mirror en masse? Because to overwhelm Spencer, we could. Wouldn't be too hard. And, you know, most of them are going to fail because, you know, but sooner or later one of them will get through and hopefully get rid of his tenacious aspect, and once his tenacious aspect is gone, there is a slim chance that we can actually finally kill him. The first tremors. Here we are in the cave of the deep sea pool beneath the monastery. Dark water shivers in the light of our lamps. As we approach, the level of the water suddenly drops. There are no tides in this sea. What's happening? Alright, Spencer Hobson, though impossible to kill, he is also quite helpful in that he's failed to create any notoriety here. Okay, I think we should get the hell out of Dodge. We have profaned the cave. Already the hours withdraw their blessing. The water sinks away, leaving the pool empty. Offerings line its bed. We must snatch them up quickly. Already the first tremors have begun. The forerunners of the long-delayed earthquake that the monks held at bay for so long. Wait. Oh, this doesn't give us the blood of St. Januarius after all. Huh? I thought there was a guaranteed drop from... I guess not. Okay. Port Noon then. If I add at least 1 funds, right? I don't remember quite what the dangers in Port Noon were. If we can cross the sea to Port Noon, if we can defeat the Long who do not die, if we can breach their private vaults, still we must resist the temptation of visions. Okay, so... Ocean, Long... warded door probably, and then a curse. Whew! Oh? Aspect guise, dove. Oh, that's probably... Oop. That's probably related to the Dancer DLC, my guess is going to be. So it needn't concern us directly. So, Forge to get across, and for the warded door, and then probably... 𝐒𝐿, I would assume for the Long. Let's see. We have 1 appetite, but we can fulfill that with the decrepitude. A rebellious spirit, okay. Rather not take any risks right now. Alright, yeah, the sea, which we can bypass with Forge, the warded door also Forge, Heart or Winter for the curse and the Long. It is very hard to kill anyone who's passed the tricuspid gate door, and here are quite a lot of anyones, but perhaps we can deceive one or prey upon someone's appetites. So yeah, let's add our 2 Grail followers first, and then either our heart followers, or if we can by then get a Maid in the Mirror, we can also send that. Okay, that wasn't successful, so let's try this again. The Sailor's Surety. Our forge skills represent plenty of expertise. We'll almost certainly make it through. Well, with a little luck at least. Right, now. Decrepitude. Some wounds never quite heal. Untreated injuries and hunger become decrepitude, which does not return to health. Decrepitude remains until we die. Remnant. Once another wore this flesh. So now, let's figure this out. Feast upon a remnant. So this is what it has come to. I am not dead. I hope that I may be dead enough that this will work as I hope, and unlock those memories that lay in my own flesh. Okay. Though, in truth, something tells me that maybe we should do this last. Does seem like quite a desperate measure. So, I say we keep it here for now. Instead, let's translate this. The Serenity of the Blackwood, an allegorical history of the House of 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞, who it is here implied were inspired by the centipede. Sereno Blackwood is an occult alias to this day. Safe across the sea. Okay, that's one obstacle down. And yeah, now we'll have to add, although, yeah, maybe this is successful. Still, a rebellious spirit. I don't know what the odds are on a summoning going awry, but sometimes they seem unbelievably high. It's like 50% or something? Could be. Okay, so next thing, probably the Long. We should now have enough Grail to seduce them. Alright, it's gone. We're safe for now. Until, of course, we try this again. Fourth or third times, I don't even know at this point, is the charm, hopefully. Serenity of the Blackwood, one of the last books we have. The proverbial footloose gathers travelers in a wood and leads them through, but abandons them part way. They find themselves beset by glorious monsters. Very well, a wager. Is this one toying with us? It's hard to be sure, but even if this is a game, they may permit us to leave. And all will probably be well. The Long. Port Noon was founded on the site of a notorious spring. Drink from it, and the world will forget you. Some among the Long have retired there from the affairs of the greater world. They don't treat trespassers kindly, and it would be foolish to assault them. But they may be susceptible to the amusements of Moth, or the seductions of Grail. We should be strong enough. Emphasis on should be. Oh, let's see to it that this dread doesn't become too much of a problem. So, a chilly atmosphere, some winter, and we can get another disciple. A wager. The Long deception. The immortal denizens of Noon are deceived, or amused, or caught up in the knots of a greater scheme yet. They won't interfere, this time. Oh, now I urgently need to add the heart followers, or this maid in the mirror. The travelers discover they can survive if they close their eyes. They adopt a closed eye as their sign, and that they can go unnoticed if they drink from the clear, cold streams. They never forget that proverbial Footloose, the centipede, but they never forgive her either. Yeah, well, it's not exactly surprising, I guess. Being abandoned in the wood. Okay, so now we can add at last the maid in the mirror here to get the winter to defeat the 5th eye curse, hopefully. Actually, just to be sure, I'm going to be doing something rather rash. I am going to, now that this disciple has gone through all the recruitments we can use for it, let's get a prisoner out of them, because we may, if this if the curse isn't defeated, need to access the spider's door to get an imminence there to defend against the curse. Betray and imprison a follower. I've locked this one away safely. When their screaming and raving subsides, I will subdue them properly. We'll probably not. We probably won't need them, but it's better to be safe more often than not. Right. This notoriety we can use to paint. Now, 10 winter. Oh, right, no, we're still concerned with the warded door, actually. Light in the skies. Rare edition. Not that we need it necessarily, but eh. Okay. More composure. Where's all of our health gone? So one of them is here. Another one is here, and I guess this one is the final one. The death of a door. Good. Artist's reward. Sadly, none of that reward is contentment. Though, I think if I add some funds for pigments, I increase the chance of good work, which in turn increases, yes, the chance for contentment being generated. Alright, final hurdle, the 5th eye curse. We call upon the eulogist, from whom nothing more can be taken. No contentment yet. Ah, there we go. Also, I should probably put these books where they ought to belong. Commandments for the preservation of all that exists. Black 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞𝐧𝐜𝐞, a Damascene matriarch of the Sisterhood of the Knot, was imprisoned by the Emperor Didius Julianus. She reportedly instructed that these secret doctrines be recorded in writing to preserve against their loss. Regrettably, the story goes, Didius Julianus ordered that the work be entombed with her in an unmarked sepulchre. But, I mean, they did manage to survive to end up in our hands. That has to count for something. Curse shrivels. Whew, okay. Now... Actually... you know what? Let's, why not indulge in another matchup here? 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞𝐧𝐜𝐞 back from the Mansus to once again face his most formidable foe, Spencer Hobson, the detective. Alright, I think there is a chance that this will finally give us the blood of Saint Januarius. There's also a chance that it doesn't, and we'll have to explore Port Noon again. But in either way, I think once this expedition has run its course, we will use it as an endpoint for tonight. This has been going on for quite a while. And my voice is exhausted now. All the way from Galicia. All the way from Galicia. This is the secret subcellar of 𝐭𝐡𝐴𝐧𝐬𝐞. Ciervo? Unclear. The walls are whitewashed, the floor is freshly scrubbed, shelves bulge with oddities. A caged man with a wild beard peers morosely at you from the corner. Again, he says? Or are you a different lot? No, I don't need rescuing, thank you. It's much worse out there. A rebellious spirit, okay, I guess 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞 doesn't want to fight Spencer Hobson again. Okay. Grab what you can, quickly, the caged man hisses. They'll be back soon. Only please leave the Gladius. I brought that all the way from Galicia back in the day. Here, that shelf's good. Hurry, they're coming. You can escape up the delivery stairs. So... wow, okay, so we got nothing new from that. Fantastic. Yeah, but Nazim seems to be scared. He doesn't want to come out anymore. Okay, so this didn't actually give us the blood of Saint Januarius, nor did any of the Port Noon expeditions. Maybe that was actually somewhere else. It's a chance. So I guess we could first explore... wait, no, in any case we should probably slake our appetite first and foremost. Commandments for the preservation of all that exists. Yeah, I don't think we want to return to Port Noon quite yet, because maybe we can find the blood of Saint Januarius somewhere else instead. Oh, we also have this maid in the mirror. Let's use that to get more. Invocation, this one here. Any influences we can grab? No, not really. Okay. Promising cemeteries. We need 3 bodies. Well, technically we only need 2, since we also have that decrepitude, but I want to I think I want to save that for last. fingers crossed for the Maiden Mirror, because if we have two of them, we can send one of them. We can basically print maids, while we can use one of the maids to print more, and sending all of the ones we summon after Spencer. Sooner or later, one of them should be successful, right? Alright. Oh, damn it, I forgot to read that, but I think we've also... I'm pretty sure Preservation of All That Exists is a book we've already read in one of the earlier playthroughs on this channel, so it's not that big of a loss. Okay, now then. Feast upon a remnant. First serving. This will be the second serving. After that we will need one more. Ha! Okay. Damn it. Damn it. Okay. So the next season is one of suspicion, so he'll escape our grasp again. But, I mean, if nothing else, we can at least try to get a generous count of maids. Okay, and a final disinterment. And after the final feast, I think we'll call it for tonight. The blood of Saint Januarius still eludes us, but I'm confident that sooner or later we'll find him. And now let's have these two Mansa spirits talk to one another to preserve them. Okay, yeah, that's, I guess that's one last thing we can take care of, sending one last hunter, one last, summon after Spencer. Dread. We should be able to deal with that. Not too much difficulty. Actually, the 𝐶𝐬𝐴𝐿𝐼𝐼𝐼 should speak to... No, the mage should speak to the 𝐶𝐿𝐼𝐼. That way we can swap it out with Spencer at the earliest opportunity. Another rebellious spirit, so reason to send it home. Another feast, and that's that in terms of our appetite. Well, let's read some of this. Oh god. This game, it tests me. 𝐶𝐴𝐿𝐼𝐼. 𝐶𝐴𝐿𝐼𝐼. Inam 𝐶𝐴𝐿𝐼𝐼 garki sripis, in which four enigmatic figures tell the stories they've heard over the years at the Roost, the secret locations where the Aviform hours congregate. Ooh, okay, so which one is which? Impossible to tell, honestly. So those are the Aviform hours, but I have no idea which one is supposed to be which one, honestly. Alright, that's an unsuccessful summoning, but we can always try again. Let's just use this to get rid of that dread as soon as possible. Though, when the Worm Museum is concerned, there is no shortage of dread, unfortunately. The horrors are never-ending, but we remain silly. Ooh! Stars shattered Fane. Here was a place sacred to the gods of Earth, until a meteor fell on a winter's night. In time, worshippers crept back to the broken ruins. In time, the meteorite itself came to be worshipped as a bringer of dreams. The old altar may yet remain, somewhere beneath the meteorite's lair. Okay. And then a last Vagabond's map. I think Tombs and Sorrows and the Lone and Level Sands. I think those would be the final unique vaults. Ah, progress on the canvas is quite well, as you see. 2 more aspects we have inscribed tonight, Earl of Rats. The colors of the double, which kind of surprised me, since the horned axe isn't dead yet. And then the colors that are not, I don't know what this continues with, but this seems to talk about the moth, which confused me even more, because not only is the moth not dead, it's, the colors that are not black. Not only is the moth not dead, it's also not a god from stone, so I am quite confused what it's doing on our canvas, to be entirely honest. But, yeah, that's 7 down. We also have this Decrepitude, which should give us our 8th. And we are currently hunting down the Blood of Saint Januarius, which should give us the final one, because in another playthrough I'm currently doing on the side in my own time of the priest, I happened upon the Blood of Saint Januarius in one of the Evening Isle expeditions, and I noticed there that it has the remnant tag. Obviously that wasn't much use for me back then as the priest, but as the ghoul. Yes, we have also been trying to get rid of Spencer Hobson, but during our various failed attempts he has gained both the tenacious and the mystic aspect. So, yeah, we have sent 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞𝐧𝐜𝐿 the Second Thirstly 5 times after him now, and each time he's survived, and I think 3 of those 5 times he's defeated 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞𝐧𝐜𝐿, which is insane. And right now I'm preserving these 2 summons by having them talk to one another, so that at the earliest opportunity we can send that maid to take care of 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞𝐧𝐜𝐿. Yeah. The 5th beaten. The 2nd Thirstly and the 5th time beaten. Text to study. Right, the Aberform hours, was it? Inam, has not the beach crow shared his treasures? Garki, not the rarest, he takes those things most precious, which he claims found, not stolen. He takes those things most precious, which he claims found, not stolen. Yeah, I had one playthrough of the priest that went, that I lost because a rival ascended before me. Yeah, I'm kind of, honestly, I'm a bit mixed on the priest. My main issue with the priest is that, like, the job of the priest, you know, the hallmark feature, it's not that useful. Like, you can get what was it, disciples? No, followers with it, but they are pretty weak and only last for a while, so for me the only real purpose for them is for Poppy, for the spider's door, and, you know, other stuff that requires you to sacrifice one of your own followers. But yeah, other than that, there's not really much of a point in using it because the funds you get from it isn't that great either. And though I haven't really progressed into the very late stages of that, if I understand the process correctly, the process of assembling all of the lock scars looks pretty tedious. I mean, not that this isn't also a little bit tedious, but at least here, I don't know, explorations is something I already do anyways. Meanwhile, I think Priest requires you to convert some of your passion and reason into decrepitude and then into health, which, well, okay, yeah, Mia. There was a city here. We can pick over its remains like jackals over old bones, palace walls, buried roads, shattered fountains. Sometimes we may find the knowledge of the dead, and sometimes the dead may find us. We found all the expeditions in the sands, although we can visit Mia several times. Speaking of which, let's try our luck at the Temple of the Seven Coils. Yeah, I mean, it is pretty clever, though. Unless, if I'm not mistaken, the processes of doing it take quite a while, because, you know, you need, what was it, a Thresher of Thoughts, for example. Like, you need to deliberately fail at summoning 𝐒𝐢𝐥𝐞, and I don't think there's that many other things you can do. The site will tolerate no life, says the Journal of Zane Mark Gentis, so we will find no serpents there, but the place sounds cursed, and Gentis recorded a door that his expedition could not open. Okay, I think if we send these two, that should be good. And now then we'll use this one to summon new ones. Now, contentment, very good. We'll need that. For this dread. And now, Sunset Rite, Maiden Mirror, Dread. And an invocation of Knock. Okay, that's all of the dread taken care of. Nice. Okay, a bit more hunger, and really all I'm trying here is to finally get another shot at Spencer. Birdsong, the beach crow. Oh, not that word. The beach crow, 𝐿𝐼𝐥𝐿𝐼𝐿𝐼 suggests is not only a thief, but also a spy and even a voyeur. He has hidden the memory of secret couplings among the hours, and their names in the corners of the house, as treasures to gloat over. There is particularly fevered speculation on a liaison between the 𝐿𝐼𝐥𝐿𝐼, that fervent hour of the wood, and the mare in the tree, who sometimes has been the witch's sister. Wait, what? Really? The mare in the tree? Huh. Okay, I didn't know that. Mare in the yew. The real hours don't meet the gods from nowhere, but the 𝐿𝐼𝐥𝐿 meets the mare in the tree. In where the wood grows lush, their couplings are forbidden, and forbidden things have power, and this is the story of their couplings. Nice. So, yeah, our cabinet of lore is looking plenty filled now. But we'll have to get rid of both of this before it becomes a problem. Damn it. We're too late on that account, it seems. Oh well. If nothing else, Spencer Hobson is going to be done pretty soon. So we'll be able to sink, finally, at long last, the maids in the mirror onto him. The dry road. We are practical souls, strong and forged. We should be able to make it between the baking rocks to the green places. Right, add some more forge. The sun-scorched roads. Our forge skills should keep us safe and lead us through the baking. Right. Almost certainly be fine. Oh, and worms. Lantern or moth? Good to know. Lantern then. We should definitely not forget that because worms are tricky, to say the least. Oh, another rebellious spirit. Okay, send it home. The sun in splendor. Okay, I'll try one more summoning. And what is our hunger doing? Not that much as of yet. Let's add some more lantern followers. Not that to avoid forgetting about the curse. Composure. And an early night. So let's read The Scar in the Sky, or at least translate it. We should wait for with reading it until our despair is gone. Call upon the Forge of Days, who will end all nights. Will almost certainly shatter this warded door. Another rebellious spirit. I'm pretty sure it's over 50% the chance to not succeed at a summoning. Which I do kind of wish that was a little lower, because I've tried to summon this Maid in the Mirror for, I think, 6 times in a row now, and each of those times it's been unsuccessful. Alright, Death of a Door, and we'll need 1 more funds. Oh, come on. Alright then, let's paint instead. Right, Scar in the Sky. But we shouldn't read that quite yet. Okay, contentment, good. Another early night. Right, logistical difficulties, but we should have everything for the curse. Alright, that's 1 despair taken care of. Alright, here he is now, Spencer Hobson. Send an unstoppable force to murder a hunter. Theoretically unstoppable. I don't think this will be successful, but we might get very lucky. I'm also very perplexed about the fact that we haven't found a single poison yet. We've basically uncovered every single unique expedition, and not a single poison. We call upon the sun in rags, which burns still. The sun in rags lands lantern light. It will almost certainly end this curse here. Exceptional work. Yes, contentment, as hoped. So, let's, because, well, realistically, the Maid in the Mirror will probably not be successful. Let's try summoning another one. The curse shrivels. Whew, okay. That's the worms taken care of. Okay, fascination. Are there visions coming? No, so... But I mean, this is about to decay anyways. Might as well use it. Hunger increases. Now, treasures lie before us. Hunting a hunter, I await word. But no one could have survived that. Now and then, tenacious hunters somehow survive attacks that should have killed them, but their luck always runs out in the end. And there are other ways to destroy a hunter besides physical assault. What I don't understand, a follower, hunter surviving because of their tenacious aspect, I thought that should get rid of the tenacious aspect. Or maybe I'm mixing it up with another one. So, well, at least... Yep, but at least this time he didn't destroy the sun and the maid in the mirror. So there's, I guess, at least that. Another rebellious... This is the 7th rebellious summoning. What is this RNG? 7th rebellious spirit in a row. Sending it home. Okay. Now, Sunset Right, which takes Edge here, Winter here, and a assistant. Yes, like this, perfect. With a little luck, that should do it. Let's also read The Scar in the Sky. Nin wrote this and came to regret it. Each page of this book contains one word only, but as each page is turned, a knowledge creeps in. Yeah, this will give us dread, and I'm almost certain a wolf word. The Coils of God. 7 coils, said Gent's journal, but the idol within is an impossible heap of a stone serpent. Coil upon coil, a knot that dizzies the soul. Wrongness squirms in the temple corners. We should search the place quickly before its influences overwhelm us. The temple is as clean as if it were newly swept. No sand has crossed the threshold. No dust settled on the idol's horrible twists. We find things tucked away here and there amid the coils, as if they had been playfully left for us to find, or as if the idol had coiled around them. What do we have here? Ah, finally. Poison, watchworms, a tiny pot of stunted, desiccated larval remnants from the First Worm War, rank with the power that inhabits dead hours. Division bell, first its voice, and after, nothing. A gold spintre. Initiates of the hidden world use spintre to pay for services. They can easily be sold for more traditional funds. Gold spintre display scenes that are not visible to mortal eyes on their reverse side. Spintre can be sold for more traditional funds at auction houses. I think this is the first time in all of my playthroughs that I found a gold spintre. I knew they existed, but I am genuinely sure that this is the very first time. Yeah, this is the first time I've actually found one. Alright, next expedition. Let's not waste any time. Although, should we maybe first slake our hunger? No, we've not grown that desperate yet. If I add at least 1 funds, I can begin the expedition. To the Shattered Fane. A star fell in the deep desert. It did not quite destroy the sacred place it struck. The treasures of the old altar may remain, hidden beneath the grave of the star. But we must approach the star cautiously. It still resonates with energies from outside the world. This might be another curse. We should really have to be careful. Because sooner or later our luck will run out with one of these. Should... Hunting a hunter. I await word. Wards and seals. That's number 7. Our enemy possesses the most dangerous weapon of all, knowledge. Your summoning has fallen prey to your adversaries' countermeasures. Mystic hunters know the proper protections and will usually survive attacks from summoned minions, but sooner or later they'll make a mistake. Yep, but I think now is finally the time to say goodbye. Perhaps we could parley, or perhaps I could sense something to ambush them. Or perhaps employ a remarkable poison against a hunter. Enjoying your tea? Watchworms. A tiny pot of stunted, desiccated larval remains from the first worm war, rank with the power that inhabits dead hours. Lethal poison. Under no circumstances should you put this in anyone you want to keep. If this doesn't kill him, I don't know anymore. Then I'm actually out of ideas. In memory of gods. Didn't we already read this one? Huh. Maybe not. Maybe that was the other playthrough. The expedition continues. Another 5th eye curse, but we have winter. We have forge, so we would need knock or lantern for the thingy here. But first, forge for the desert. I think I should also get another follower betrayed so that we can visit the spider's door. Is this? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is now the 8th summoning in a row that's unsuccessful. 8th. Yeah. As suspected, the final page is crowded. Each reader of the book records the same word. Now it is my turn. The wolf word. When the forge is cold and the glory is dark and the wood is dust, perhaps the wolf divided will rest, but only until it can devour itself. The word almost expresses the divided one's hatred. Speak this to a hunter and it might drive them insane on the spot. But unfortunately Spencer is also an idealist and grim, so we can't even do that. And of course the rite intercalate. This rite recapitulates the sun's abominable fate. It is used in extreme times by foolish adepts. Alright, now all we're missing is the pinnacle lore of Forge. And after that we've actually managed to complete our entire collection. A work by the Barrow Child, a nameless Gaulish adept who joined an organization known as the Order 𝐒𝐿𝐼𝐴. Okay, let's see if the sun-scorched road. Our forge skills should keep us safe. Yeah, 13. Let's also get some lantern followers. Okay. 3rd degree poison. I think that's the strongest there is. If this doesn't kill him, I think I give up. The end is not pretty, but it's quick and almost painless. There are much worse ways to die. Goodbye, Spencer Hobson. Okay. That did it. We had to feed him literal worms, but he's dead. Finally. So now, I think I'll use an exaltation of one of these pawns, or rather promotion of one of these pawns to get rid of some of this dread. And once the pawn is a disciple, I'll betray it to get another entry ticket into the spider's door. Sun and Splendor, we're through the desert. Good. Affliction to cure with funds. And, do we still have despair? No, so we can read this. The Barrow Child singles out the Scarred Tribune, the Red Grail, the Forge and the Moth for special condemnation as murderers of the first gods. We will live in the shadow of their crime, she writes, and we must evade it or repeat it. Wait. I don't think so. I don't think so, no. Oh, damn it. We can't use this, wait, we can, if we cheese it a little bit, put this in cold storage. Right, a more lantern. 𝐶𝐞𝐧𝐜𝐞, why not? Yeah, so let's use the Sunset Rite to put, no, not the Sunset Rite, Crow's Crenching to put the corpse here on ice, literally in this case. So that we might feast on it in time. An avid disciple. But, their only real use for us is this. Betray and imprison a follower. This one must serve another purpose now. Into the cupboard they go. Okay, a few more seconds. Now. Benefits of privacy. Oh, nice. Yeah, we could reanimate it, but I think we want to instead quell our appetite. So the more we quell our appetite, the more we can avoid keeping the less time we spend skulking around graveyards, which keeps us from exploring. In memory of gods, the Barrow Child describes how the Grail drained the hour called the Tide, that one we already have covered, how the Moth usurped the wheel from within, stealing its skin, and how the Forge first eclipsed the shattered flint. Those three are all accounted for. Perhaps these are glories, she observes, but then it cannot be that glory is merciful. Well, you know what they say. Mercy, saith the watchman, is found only in shadow. And there is no shadow in the glory. That's a whole lot of dread. Luckily, no despair yet. No season of bleak thoughts. Watchman who illuminates, and then one more funds. That should be everything. Oh, I'm stupid. Now I wasted that. Contentment. Oh well. There are worse things. Although no, wait, we can paint a mood piece of it. That'll preserve it for a little while longer. Is the next season? No, it's winter, so we're safe for a little while longer. Wait for the hidden door. Okay, now all that's left is curse, and I hold my breath. Yeah, I mean... Oh, that's a good question. I don't think so, no. Once they're reanimated, I think they're counted as summonings. They don't no longer have the remnant tag. But I suppose we could test it. Okay, which one of these? Ugh, more dread. Wow, okay. Call upon the eulogist from whom nothing more can be taken. Okay, now we have to be very watchful. Because if this curse doesn't shrivel, we need to quickly go to the spider's door as often as we can. Passion, passion, notoriety, notoriety. And then paint about this passion. Contentment. The curse shrivels. Whew, okay, good. Yeah, I've been exceptionally lucky when it comes to the curses in this run. Not one of them has clung, which is far more than I can say for the other run I'm currently doing on my own time, where despite being perfectly as well protected as I could be every single time, I think at least 2 curses have clung now. Maybe even more, I'm not quite sure anymore. And those were like, I think we've only, in that run I've only gone to 4 sites which had curses, or 5 maybe, and of those 2 of them clung. Okay, treasures lie before us. The second last unique expedition, actually, I'm realizing now. Okay, we have contentment, though technically we don't even really need it anymore. Because this dread will all decay long before it can become a problem. So let's instead, once again, do something which we haven't done in a while. Work on a commission. Let's also translate this. The ciphered journal of Alexandre Lacroche. Prince Alessandro Lacroche spent years in secret study of the tablets taken from the Fucine marches in central Italy. His works will allow you to read Fucine texts, but it's written in a simple Latin cipher. We'll need to decipher it first. The opening stone. The meteorite lies in the shattered temple, ridged like a sea creature, smoothed by its passage through the atmosphere. The old altar must have been crushed centuries ago, but the meteorite responds to our touch. It hums like wires in wind. Its surface shifts, and it opens like a key. Well, as it is. Next season will increase our hunger, but not much else. Alright. What has passed? The meteorite is cold and closed and silent. The sand of centuries lies untouched upon it, but here in our hands are the treasures we found within. Let's see here. Okay, still no blood of Saint Januarius, but... Alright, I think now that we've completed that search at long last, this might be a good opportunity to call it for tonight. We have gone on for quite some time, so save and exit. I won't be able to be with you tomorrow night, but the night after that should be Cultist Simulator time again. Though, soon enough, I would also like to try and, what was it? Right, venture into painting on stream again. One thing I particularly want to create sooner or later would be a graphic for a schedule, but all of that is for future me to worry about. Instead, let us lastly set a rate target. I'm seeing the delightful Starlight Akari is once again live playing Arknights, so I'll send us over there once again. So, in the meanwhile, it has been my pleasure to be your host. Feel free to perform those rites of algorithmic appeasement. You know the ones. But until next time, have a nice night and safe travels.